Alright, Shalom. This is the I.S.U.P.K under commanding Gen.YAHANNA. As you know, we do classes twice a week. Today is the Wednesday class, which is the law. So of course we're going to go in the law, and you know what I mean, show the black man and his Sabbatic man the law of God. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We're too busy following religion and philosophy when yet we have laws, statutes, and commandments, which you know what I mean. If you look at religion, they have us believing that you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
But though the God in the record of your history is commanding you to follow His laws, His statutes, and commandments. But before we get into the law, just a few announcements. Do remember to pay your tithes. That is 10%. The common example is always use it in £100. £10, of course, would be 10%. That goes to the men of the I.S.U.P.K. With that, we feed the homeless, the people that need their rent paid, the people that don't even have anything to eat. You know what I mean? So that's what that goes up to. Also on a Monday night, we have the radio show hosted by commanding Gen.YAHANNA, where he'll be going into problems in the black community. That's a powerful radio show. Also from Tuesdays through till Fridays, we have live online classes. You know what I mean? To range from brotherhood, the law, a scripture breakdown class. Then the Friday class is the Lashawan Kodash, the Hebrew language. You know what I mean? Where you'll learn your language. You won't be learning the language of anyone else, but the language that God handed you.
That's right.
And that's on the Friday night. So that's just the announcements. So before we get into the law, has anybody got any questions in the class or even online?
Not yet, just sharing it now.
Not yet. All right, then in today's law class, we're gonna get this whole Egyptian philosophy. You know what I mean? You got lots of people saying that the Bible was taken from them, talking about how like the same commandments that we have written on the Egyptian hieroglyphs. We're gonna get into that and show you that that's a lie, and that if so, then why do Bible laws contradict ancient Egyptian laws? Because you got people that say, well, the Bible is just really a handed down version of what they once had. And of course, in the class, we're going to show that that's a lie and that it's not true. So if you can, on the Wikipedia or whatever, just look up Pan-Africanism. So you know what I mean? Because a lot of people like to use that term. I'm a Pan-Africanist, Egyptologist. So of course, it's good to know what these things mean before, you know what I mean, someone even says that that's what they are. Because I bet you used to ask a lot of them, okay then, what does the word Pan-Africanist mean? A lot of them don't even know.
That's right.
Now, of course, we researched up that word, but a lot of them, you to ask them, they don't even know. They just tell them like to throw about, but then they don't even know what that even means. Read that for me.
Well, the definition of Pan-Africanism is the principle or advocacy of the political union of all the indigenous inhabitants of Africa.
All right, so Pan-Africanism means someone who believes in all of Africa. Basically, if you break down the word, pan means all. So if you pan something, you go over everything and Africa. So in a nutshell, Pan-Africanism means all of Africa. So it's someone that believes in all of Africa, whether it's the Sudan, Egypt, West Africa, East Africa, South, Southwest. So someone that says, you know, I'm a Pan-Africanist means they believe in all of Africa, and that also all of Africa is one. Now the problem with that is, in history, Africa was not one. No part in history was Africa all one, where, you know what I mean, one man that lived in the West Africa, he just go to the east of Africa and he was fine. He wouldn't get robbed. He wouldn't get, you know, hanged or whatever. That's a lie. From the beginning, Africa has always been a divided land. One I wouldn't say race, but one bunch occupy this land, one bunch occupy another part, and they've had wars. That's history. Now someone who believes in, you know, the ancient Egyptians, they had wars with the people from the Sudan, the Hittites, Amorites, who's also families of African soup. So for someone said that they're a Pan-Africanist, that don't make sense because all of Africa at no point in history has never ever gotten along. And we're going to read that for those online. This is a book called Egypt Uncovered. Now, this is written by people that can read the hieroglyphs, can read the text, and they're going to go into, was Africa at one point Pan-Africanist? Look at page 49 or something. Yeah, page 49. I've highlighted it. It's the hard copper right there. So we're going to see if this Pan-Africanist belief is even a fact, and then now we're going to see Egyptian records and see has Africa at one point always gotten along. So
from the book Egypt Uncovered by Vivian Davis and Renee Friedman. To lead an expedition beyond the boundaries of the ordered world required bravery and skill.
All right. So now, for those that don't know, Africa is not one big land where you can walk to one part and go through. There's wildlife, animals, bushes. So if you live in one part, to get to another part is actually work. You know what I mean? You're gonna have your land. You're gonna go through some safari. Not the Sahara, the African desert, the what's it called? Northern African Sahara. Yeah, you'll have to get there. So to get from one part, it does take a lot of work. So that's what they are on about right there.
That's right. Such men were highly regarded and well compensated.
Right. So now, for the work that they did, they got paid well because what they're doing is a hard thing. To get from one country to another part took a lot of work.
Among the most famous of them was a man named I.S.U.P.K.
So now, among many of them in the Egyptian history, a man called I.S.U.P.K. He was well known for the work that he had done.
He was based at Elephantine, at the first cataract of the Nile, the perfect place from which to launch, at His Majesty's bidding, expeditions to the south to bring back for him exotic treasures of Africa. In his tomb in the cliffs at Quebec al-Harar.
So now with that name there, that's the Arabic name. Of course, in the Egyptian times, that land would have had an ancient Egyptian name, but because obviously you know how the Arabians now occupy that land, it's called what's on Quebec, something. Yeah, they say. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Salak, come on. Overlooking his town, I.S.U.P.K. relates the notable events of his 4 expeditions into Nubia to bring the produce of all foreign lands to his lord.
So now, the man that wrote this book, he's making it seem nice. You know what I mean? He went to a land and he brought back things. Really, what did he do? They're trying to make it seem more nice. Like he went to this land and his expedition, it was nice. Come on, we're not done. But then you guys give it a go. So what did this man actually do when he got there?
Robbing and raping and looting and
that's right.
Going on the base savagery.
That's right. So you know what I mean? They're trying to make it seem nice. Now it was just expedition. No, he didn't. He went there, hanged people, lit people, killed them, killed sons, daughters, done all that stuff, and he took all their diamonds, all their rubies, and things that he saw good to his lord. So that Egyptian king at that time, he'd do that, then he would bring it back onto him. You know what I mean? So that whole Pan-Africanism thing is a lie because this is before the white man came around. This is before, you know what I mean, the white man said, you know what I mean, you're going to follow Christianity, Catholicism. They have their beliefs and yeah, they're still going into other African countries and they're robbing them. So the whole Pan-Africanism belief is a lie because we're reading in their history that they was robbing other African land before the invasion of the white man. Do you understand?
That's right.
Read on.
By casting the dread of Horus.
And what?
The dread of Horus.
So even that part there showed that he didn't go in a nice, peaceful way in that land because he's casting the dread. Now, with that word, that's not a word that you would use for something sweet. Not at all. So he's over there, you mean, raging a war against him.
That's right. By casting the dread of Horus into the foreign lands.
Into what?
Into the foreign lands.
Into the foreign lands. Now, if the Egyptians have their land, a land that is not theirs, that would be classed as a foreign land. So the Sudan, South Africa, West Africa, you know what I mean? Those lands would be classed as foreign lands, and he's going there and he's massacring them, and he's bringing back the best to his Lord. You know?
He boasts of the donkey loads of incense, ebony, oils, panther skins, elephant tusks, and throw sticks.
Now he's talking about the donkey loads, meaning he didn't just reach there and just take a bit. He took donkey loads, meaning they came back with as much as they wanted.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? He's going back like, look, I got lots of this, lots of incense, and they had it by the donkey loads. So they didn't just rob a bit. You know what I mean? I can't say they took it all, but for you to have the donkey loads means that you obviously took a lot. But read on.
Panther skins, elephant tusks, and throw sticks he procured in the Southlands.
In the Southlands, so Sudan, Zimbabwe, small Southlands, Uganda, South, Malawi, South, and a whole bunch. And there's tons of countries in Africa. But when he says these outlands, that's the direction roughly. You know what I mean? Uganda, Malawi, etc.
But he is most proud of a far more exotic acquisition: a dancing pygmy.
A dancing pygmy. So for those who don't know, a pygmy is a indigenous African, and they're really short. You can look it up online, type in pygmy. You got different types. You got some in Australia. They're really short and like, you know what I mean? But that's a term that they have for them. So now he took this young pygmy. So now they're probably gonna make him dance. You know what I mean? So when they take him back, he's gonna, you know, dance for the king, sing for him if you can, you know what I mean, and do all kinds of things like that. But we're gonna get the definition of that word just right now. Pygmy people.
It's like your own picture or definition.
Yeah, we get the definition first, then we get a picture of it. Or it's like, and that's how it's like, you can just add. In the definition, it said the Uganda, it said yeah, so just say that, you know what I mean? If you got one from there, from like that part, then like that also shows where they are from as well. You get that?
The definition of pygmy: a member of certain peoples of very short stature in equatorial Africa and parts of Southeast Asia. Pygmies, example Mutumbi and Twa peoples, are typically nomadic hunter-gatherers with an average male height not above 4'11".
Now 4'11", that's short. I mean, who's 4'11"? Famous fighter Demetrius Johnson. He fights in MMA. He's really short. He fights in the not even bantamweight division. Like, I think it's called the strawweight division, and he's very short. You know what I mean? Now to be 4'11", I'm 5'8", 5'7", so 4'11", like me standing up, they probably be like to here, but like me in the chair, from about here, that's like 4 foot. You know what I mean? So now it says lives in equatorial Africa. So equatorial will be like the Uganda, the Congos, around the equal part of Africa, around that part, and they're 4'11", and that's some of them right there, African pygmies. So now with a hard cuff, when he would have took one of them, You know what I mean? He's probably bringing back, look at the family short. African right here, like, you know what I mean? And everyone's looking at him like, wow, and you know what I mean? Holding his head and doing all kind of stuff. So now this is a little video just to show you, because one thing you don't want to do, you don't ever want to read stuff and just let things just fly over. When you read stuff, it's good to know what they're on about, what's the definition of words too. So
that's right.
It's run that.
It's like I have to.
No sweating works. Should run orcs, I believe.
Okay.
So now this is like a little documentary that the white man done. You know what I mean? He likes to always explore, like to, you know, see the world. So you know, he's around the Uganda, Congo, Malawi part. You know what I mean? He's gonna show you about these pygmies. So you know, that's how they live. So now with this guy, Cuff, he would have been around these regions to find one to have brought back to the king. So, you know, so he's going through all of that bush right there to find their land to where, you know what I mean, they rest their heads on that.
It's like yeah, there's an issue with the audio. It's like
But yeah, that's the definition right there. So that's what a pygmy like be based like a short African, approximately like 4 foot 11. So now when he went to their land, he took back incense, frankincense, and all that by the donkey loads. He also took a pygmy back with him. So he showed that, like, I mean, like, look what we found. We found someone who's like 4 foot 11. That, you know,
I had it on, but it's good.
no.
You don't want it. You want me to play audio?
You can, but I mean, the point that we
we got
show
it.
them how to look like.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can just go back up a bit to buy the donkey loads and all that.
Can. He boasts of donkey loads of incense, ebony oils, panther skins, elephant tusks, and throw sticks he procured.
I know it. So now he's talking about he got this thing by the donkey load. So when he went to the Sudan, he, you know, massacred them, and he took back the riches by the donkey loads. You know what I mean? Ebony oils, incense, all of them things. You want to read that?
He procured in the Southlands, but is most proud of a far more exotic acquisition, a dancing pygmy.
A dancing pygmy. So one of these short African fish, about 4 foot 11, that can dance. So anyone talking about Pan African, like Pan African, that Africa's one, that don't make sense, because even in African history, Africans always went to another African's land and they robbed that land. So Pan-Africanism obviously can't make sense, because at one point in history did all of Africa get along.
That's right.
All of Africa was not one, and that's history. So now he basically took one of them back, and he can dance. So now he's got that. Sorry, not that. He's got one of them among the king. You know what I mean? Doing some dancing or whatever he was, or whatever they wanted him to do. Is there any more that?
That's all it was. Yeah.
Yes, that's right there. So let's get the book of Leviticus, the 18th chapter and 1. So as I said before, we have laws, statutes, and commandments And what a lot of people don't understand is the reason why in the Bible there's so much law, statutes, and commandments is because we dwelt amongst the Egyptians at one time, and God didn't want us doing the same things as them. And then we're going to read about that right now.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 1.
It's like chapter 18.
18 verse 1. Salakia. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God.
All right, so now the first thing he's letting us know is that he is the Lord, our God, meaning that what? If you're a black man, you should not be worshipping any other God.
That's right.
Now, if you're into Christianity, right there, you are worshipping another God. If you're following Egyptology, you are worshipping another God. And he's in that we belong unto him. You know what I mean? We don't belong to no one else, no other religion, no other philosophy. We don't.
After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein you dwell, shall ye not do.
And that's and with that, it's key saying that now at one point in time we dwell amongst the Egyptians, and he's saying the same doings that they did, we shall not do. So now they've done many mad things that God commanded us not to do. That's the reason why we have commandments, because we dwell amongst them, and they did many things which the God saw and was like, nah, my people, I don't want them doing that. And guess what? We're gonna find out what like some of those things are, and we read on.
And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whether I shall bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances.
Yeah, read on. Ye
shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
Yes, so now the Most High, he let us know all the things that they do, don't, but you shall keep my laws, my statutes, and my commandments. Next verse.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. Yeah, none of you shall approach any that is near of kin to him.
All right, so now, can anyone break that part down? What does that mean? Yeah, anyone that is kin unto you, meaning your mom, your dad, your brother, whatever, he's saying you don't basically have any sexual relations with them. Now, a lot of people that taught this Pan-Africanism, ancient Egyptian stuff, they like to ignore the fact that Egyptians did actually believe in this. I mean, there's lots of historical records where the Egyptians, they didn't have sex with their mom, their dad. Right. The bigger brother would sleep with the younger sister. But yet, these Pan-Africanists, they don't ever talk about things like this. All what they do is pick the good parts, Egypt, the Pharaoh, the king, the Nile, and whatever else they think is good. But yet, these parts, they don't even read. You can go, yeah, but what about, some of them that slept with like their mom? Oh, no. That's a lie.
That's right.
The so-called white man, he put that part there. He wants to know how good that we once was. When no one put that there, that is in Egyptian history.
That's right.
That, it's there because it's there. No one didn't have to edit anything. It's there because in their culture, it was just there. There's nothing that no one had to write up or like lie about. It's just one of the things that they did. Which one? That's what.
You're gonna go to the police.
Yeah, we are. I've got it under it.
Yeah. Come.
What's with that?
None of you. Yeah, so like, come on. None of you shall approach any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord.
So when it says to uncover their nakedness, it means to have sex with them. Obviously, before you have sex with someone, you take off the clothes and that. So basically, that's what the Most High is saying, that any relatives, you should not be lying down with them. And the Egyptians done this, and guess what? How do we know? Because in verse 3 it says, you just want to read it again? Verse 3.
After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein wherein ye dwelt shall ye not do.
Yes, so the Egyptians done this, and Moses saying he doesn't want us doing that exact same thing. So
That's
the
right.
Egyptians, they used to, have sex with their moms, their dads, younger brothers, aunties, cousins, and etc. And God's commanding us, nah, we're not supposed to be doing things like that. You know what I mean? Do you want to read that?
Come on. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover.
Yeah, so now we are commanded not to have sex with our mom or like our dads. Now, some people may read this and go, yeah, but who in their right mind would even do something like that? We say that. Why? Because we have the commandments, but the Egyptians, they don't. You have to remember, they don't have the same commandments as us. So really, what makes them say that is wrong?
That's right.
If you don't have a law, then you can do whatever you like. You know what I mean? If I don't follow the laws, I can rob someone. They got a car, I can just take that car. But because we have commandments, I can't. While as with them, they can do whatever they want because they don't follow any kind of laws.
She is thy mother; thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
Mm-hmm.
The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover.
All right. So now with your dad, if he had another wife, you can't have sex with her too. So you know what I mean? So he's saying that basically anyone who is related, so whether it's like an aunt or if your dad has another wife, you can't have sexual relations with them. And we're getting commanded that because with the Egyptians, they know things like that. And of course, we're gonna obviously back that up to so
Is it true that even the Egyptians, like their gods, use even interbred as well? Like the Egyptian god of the sky, the brother with the Egyptian god of the earth, and the legend has that had sex and so forth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So even the beginnings, it's all about gay sex and homosexuality and interrelations. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that once we've got time. But there's an article having there about incest in Egypt, and it should be one of the tabs here. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
From the Mail Online, Egyptian pharaohs kept it in the family.
Now with that, that's not a lie. They literally done that. You know what I mean? People sleep with moms and then dads. So now through their research, even they understood that a lot of this was basically going on at that specific time.
Scientists find proof of incest in lack of difference in the height of royal mummies.
All right. So for those that don't know, incest, one way to know that if someone is a product of that is height. You know what I mean? Like, just say for instance, say brother and a sister have sex with that son. One thing that happens is they become really short and like their head gets really big. You know what I mean? That's one indicator of if someone is born of same family relations. And now with a lot of the Egyptian bodies that they find all of the indicators of that. You have something?
No, it's like
you just want to read on?
Scientists of the University of Zurich studied the heights of 259 mummies.
Now that's a lot. It's not one. It's not three. You can read again. 259. So now it's not a one-off. So now they've gone over a lot of these, and they're finding the same things, which show that same-sex relations was basically going on a lot. You gonna read that?
Pharaohs varied less in stature, suggesting inbreeding among the royalty. King Amenhotep I was found to be the most obvious product of incest.
So now, for him to be the most obvious one means that he had everything: short height, big head, long hands. I mean, meaning he must have been indicating incest like 100%. and it has some.
Yeah, that incest. Don't you catch sexual diseases from doing that?
You can as well, yeah.
So was that like a widespread thing at that time?
Yes, it was, yeah. Because
just curious.
if you if you read, I mean, well, we are going to read on, and it shows that amongst them, a lot of them, they have all the indicators of this incest. But yeah, it can also spread a disease too. But when a baby is born of it, they have like a really short height, and like the front part of the head is really big as well, and like the hands get all like longer and deformed. So they found that a lot amongst the Egyptians. So now that's what they're saying, is that it was very obvious that they kept it in the family, as what they say. Which one read up?
Okay. Pharaohs believed they were descended from the gods and wanted to preserve their royal bloodline through inbreeding. Historical records claim incest was rampant among rulers of ancient Egypt who believed they descended from the gods.
Now that's a good part where they said that historical records. So it's not something that they say, it's not something that they believe. We're saying that even the historical records show that incest was rampant, meaning that it was going on a lot. If something is rampant, it means that it's very high, meaning it's something that almost everyone is doing.
But this has always been difficult to prove because scientists are unable to get access to the mummy's tissue for DNA analysis. Now, a study of 259 mummies has provided direct evidence of incest by measuring Pharaoh's height, variations, and comparing it to the variation of the general Egyptian population at the time.
So now, not every single one of them had done this. So maybe the one that hadn't, he probably 5'8", but the ones that did, they was really short. So that's how to know that, okay, then these ones are a product of it, and the ones that ain't and they're not very deformed, they're the ones that, you know what I mean, had a wife and they did not interbreed with like their mom or like their dad. Yeah.
So like just even on this picture here, look where his wrist is to his hand. That's weird as hell, man. Like,
see, as I said before, one indicator is that your hands get really long, and that's what incest can actually do. That's an indicator right there. And that's what the brother said. His wrist is right here, and look how long his hands are. It shows that he's a product of either his mom sleeping with a brother, or brother sleeping with his sister, or dad sleeping with his daughter, or you know what I mean? Who knows what they read up?
As a highly heritable character, height could give evidence of this inbreeding. The study of pharaohs varied less in height than common Egyptians, suggesting incest was rife among royals. It is actually one of the largest collections of body height from ancient Egyptians and spans all major periods of their history.
So now that's key. So now with this, it didn't just happen at just one point of ancient Egyptian history. It's saying that it spans all the route. So meaning that from the beginning even to the last part. So meaning that they was doing this from the beginning till when the so-called ancient Egyptian history kind of came to an end. So you know what I mean? It never just happened just at one specific part.
The average height of the male population varied between 5'2" in the New Kingdom during around 1550 to 1070 BC, and 5'5" during 2925 to 2575 BC. This provides an average of 5.4 foot for all time periods. Females range between 5 foot from 712 to 332 BC to 5'2" in the early dynastic period.
Just like So now that's really short. I mean, so much 5'2", 5'2". I mean, that is very short. And now all of that happened because of these inter-family relationships. So now because of the height, you know, well, okay, then these people are obviously the offspring of a family relationship. But I mean, in your own time, you can read on more at that. But basically, the bigger point is made that, you know what I mean, that basically a lot of them was having sexual relationships with their moms, their dads, aunts, and all that. And then in the Bible, it says, we shall not do as them. And then the law says that we shall not have no sex with our kin, whether it's your dad's wife or it's your aunt. So if you want to read that part again, Leviticus 18:6.
The book of Leviticus 18 verse 6. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him.
Yeah, so his kin, I mean your brother, your aunt, your uncle, no one should be having sex with like anyone that is in your kin. Read that.
To uncover their nakedness, I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shall thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
You know what's sad? God has to let you know she is thy mom. Like, it's common sense. Like, amongst us in here, that don't even come in your mind. I don't have to, you know, try to convince no one not to have sex with like their mom. But yet, with the ancient Egyptians, that was normal. And that's why God had to command us not to do it. That's why sometimes when like you're reading the commandments and you're like, yeah, but why is it there? It's there because people was doing things like that at like that time, and God had to just let us know in commandment that we are commanded not, that it's wrong. If you know what I'm saying.
Come.
All right, read that.
The nakedness of thy father's wife shall thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad.
So now it has to let you know whether she is born at home or abroad, because some people may make an excuse. Yes, she's related to me, but she lives far away. I don't feel connected with that. So God has to let us know that, look, that's not happening. I don't care whether she's born home with you or she lives far like away. You don't have sex with her. You don't.
Even their nakedness shall thou not uncover. The nakedness of thy son's daughter.
So now the nakedness of what?
It's like your son's daughter.
So now if your son, if he has a daughter, you can't have sex with her. So why does this let you know that the Egyptians, they was doing these things, and that's why we had to have laws that said no of you can't. Read that.
Or the daughter of thy daughter's daughter. Even their nakedness shall thou not uncover, for it is thine own nakedness.
Yes, all right. So now, I mean, if you read on down, you know, your aunt, your uncle, but though the point being made is that, you know what I mean, we got this law because the Egyptians, they was doing these things, and God commanded us not. So for someone to say that the Bible is a ancient Egyptian book that, you know what I mean, we robbed and all that, that don't make any sense, because with the Egyptians, they was allowed to do them things, but yet in the Bible you can't. So now the Bible can't be a hijacked Egyptian record when one saying it's okay and the other one saying that you can't. You know what I mean? So right there, that's a contradiction right there.
It's a lot of like black people in particular like look up to Egypt as something special. Like the average person don't even know this kind of issue.
That's right.
Talk about Egypt, and the pyramids and the pharaoh and the gold and all that stuff. And the average person don't even know this, that there was homosexuals and that they did incest and so forth. It's a deal. It wouldn't be big enough Egypt so much.
Yeah, it's true, man. That's what I said. I think is before you came. We like a lot of them. They just like the good parts, you know what I mean, and the maths, the pyramids, and all that.
That's right.
But yet they don't even take the time out to even read about what they actually did. Yes, they invented them things, but of course, they live a day-to-day way of life, and like they don't even take time out to even read about that. They show the pyramids, the math. Look at this book. Yeah, but besides that, how did they live every day? And guess what? What they done, they was gay, slept with their moms and dads, but yet no one cared to find out about that part there.
Yeah, like how the scriptures say, the great city that's spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And the same thing going on in Egypt, all that homosexuality, but the slavery too. The average nigga that claim the way that Ankh and love the pyramids, they don't know that that was all slavery. Same how this place we lost slavery, them was wicked people, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they forget how that place got made. You know what I mean? They focus on how it looks like, but they don't. But they don't look on actually who done that work to make that place as good as it was. But we got that. All right, let's get Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 22.
Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination.
Right. So a question: what is this on about right here?
It's called bestiality.
Not this one. That's the next verse. That's homosexuality. If you want to read it again, we break it down.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind.
All right. So now, when it says mankind, means mankind as in also with like a white man, Chinese man, mankind meaning you don't have sex with like a mankind. Read on.
As with womankind.
As with a woman. So same way you have sex with obviously the opposite sex, you don't do that with mankind. So basically no homosexuality. Now, as we said before, if you go to verse 3, it says, we shall not do after the Egyptians wherein ye dwelt. So now they was doing homosexual acts too, but yet people fail to understand that. And you'll mean like, if you even tell a Pan-Africanist that, they go, it's a lie, we don't do them things. When it's in Egyptian records, it's nothing that someone has to make up, it's nothing that someone has to lie about. It's there because it's what they have done. And if you want to read that one more time.
Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination.
It is an abomination. The word abomination means a wicked act. So now God, he looks at that homosexual act as a wicked, horrible thing. But yet they say that with the Bible, that's actually right from the Egyptian wars. But how is it when one saying homosexuality is wrong, and with the ancient Egyptians, homosexuality was fine? And we're going to read about it. I got another tab.
Come on.
If you want to go up some. Yes.
Is that 2 monkeys in there?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's on the hieroglyphs. That is Nayang, Kano, and Kanim Hotep. Now, of course, they didn't do like the Jeroboams back then. So that's the best, obviously, you know what I mean, they're next to each other. But as you can see, them two, you know what I mean, giving it tongues and cheeks, you know. I know that, cheeks and tongues, which way you say right now. But yeah, you want to read that?
Come. Homosexuality in ancient Egypt is a passionately described subject within Egyptology.
All right, so now, the reason why it's called a passionate, disputed subject is because some people try to deny it. You got some people that, no, black man wasn't gay, like isn't my dad, he's into Pan-Africanism, you know what I mean, all that stuff. And one time I said to him, and he was pissed. You know, my dad looking like, you liar. No, we don't do them things. When, yes, but I wouldn't say he did, but you know what I mean, he believes that he's an Egyptian. So that's what they did, and he was vexed. But yeah, it's what happened, and that's why it calls it a passionate, disputed object. Because you know what I mean, some people, they would argue with that, you know what I mean? Be careful, you might even get into like a fight if you say it to the wrong person too.
Historians and Egyptologists alike debate what kind of view ancient Egypt society fostered about homosexuality.
And guess what? That same debate even happens right now. You can show a Pan-Africanism. Look at that right there, and they can see it's another man putting his tongue into another man's neck, and yet they'll go, no, it's not that. If you know what I mean, and then they try to get all, you know. Now, really, if you look at it, he just, you know what I mean, next to the man, he just, you know what I mean, saying hello and all that, man. We're not dumb, you know what I mean? We're not blind. That's a,
yeah, a lot of them, the new one is there. A lot of them say it's symbolic. But even that's still homosexual. If your symbolism is gay, then what kind of mindset do you have?
Yeah, that's right. So there's no way of getting around it. You can't look at it and say, nah, man, he's not trying to, you know what I mean, get in the man's neck. He's just trying to show me, say hello, just you know what I mean, like, you're right. I mean, like, come on, we're not blind. But anyway, you're trying to read out.
It's like a long like, see, like, imagine as you go to dap somebody here, you go in, you know what I'm saying? Like, someone take a picture quick like that, you'd be like, oh man, that's a gay picture, man, don't post that, you know, but like, you know what I'm saying, they capture the wrong angle as you're coming in to give them a hug or something and you look a bit close. But that shit, that took ages. And somebody had to commission that and say, yeah, do it like, you know what I'm saying? So they know damn well what they're
that's
portraying there.
That's a case
Only a handful of direct hints still survive, and many possible indications are only vague and offer plenty of room for speculation.
Yes, now what they're saying is, okay, then there is room for debate, saying, okay, then there may be some accounts would say every single one of them wasn't gay. That's still room for speculation. Read on depiction of possible homosexuality.
Nyankun and Kamenhotep, the best known case of possible homosexuality in Egypt. The best known case in Egypt is the two high officials. High officials.
So these members, you know what I mean, high rank, you know what I mean, they could say what someone can do and what someone can't. Read out.
Nyan Kumanhotep both lived and served under Pharaoh Nisur during the 5th dynasty, 2494 BC to 2345 BC. Nyan Kumun and Kamenhotep each had families of their own with children and wives. But
so now they had wives and all that. So it wasn't like, you know what I mean, they never had any kids or anything. But though, even though they had wives and all that, they were still having their gay relationship. Unlike, you know what I mean, even after their wives and everything, you know.
When they died, their families apparently decided to bury them together in one.
Right. So now, why did you think that their family wanted them to bury together? Does anyone want to answer that? So now, if you have a wife, why would your wife want you to be in the same grave as another man? Meaning what? That their wives, they was fine with it, and then when they both died, they're like, do you know what? They can get buried together. So meaning that his wife and then the other man's wife, they was fine with the gay relationship that they had. They, I mean, they're not saying no. He's gonna, you know, get buried in like my back garden or whatever. They're like, yeah, fine. Let them get buried together. Meaning that their wives also knew about the relationship that they had too. You read that?
Decided to bury them together in one and the same Matsaba tomb. Matsaba tomb. In this Matsaba, several paintings depict both men embracing each other and touching their faces, nose to nose.
Nose to nose. So now this is one of the most obvious ones, and then that's the depiction right there. You know what I mean? And if you look at it, that's just gay. Like, if I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but they're even looking at the eye contact and all, like, you know what I mean? Whoever carved that really put some effort into it, you know what I mean? And look, so that's it there. So even when they died, their wives both commissioned for them to be buried together as well. So that's that one. That's another one of them too as well. Now, come on, that's not right. And now, how can the Bible be an ancient Egyptian book when the Bible condemns this act? Homosexuality is an abomination, but yet it's right there, and they're not saying anything's wrong with it. But anyway, that's that one. You want to read the Egyptian and historians.
Egyptologists and historians disagree about how to interpret paintings.
All right, so that's the point that you was on about a painting is basically there, but then they will go, well, it depends on how you look at it. If you look for something gay, then of course that's what you wouldn't find. But that's not really what it's about. If you look at it, he's just hugging him, and the eye contact, it just means that you're my best friend and all that. And that's what they do because they want to deny the fact that they was gay.
That's right.
You want to read that part again?
Egyptologists and historians disagree about how to interpret paintings of Nyana, Kunam, and Kunam Hotep. Some scholars believe that the paintings reflect an example of homosexuality between two married men and prove that ancient Egyptians accepted same-sex relationships.
And guess what? That excerpt there, that is right. Egyptians did accept same-sex relationships, but yet people that do, for those that deal with Pan-Africanism and all that, they like to deny these things. That when you go, okay, then what's this? Well, it depends how you look at it. This image, it symbolizes, you're my best friend and all that stuff, and it has some ground.
Yeah, it's telling that Egyptians, basically, they accepted that kind of stuff, yeah? But to bury them together, must have been a norm for them. No one was shocked about it. No one was like that. Them to bury them together was like, okay, you know how you bury a kid in the football t-shirt? It's like,
come on.
Well, and that's his man, so she loved to bury him.
And then what's the worst part is that even their own wives, they allowed it to mean that their wives was fine with the gay relationship, and when they died, they go, yeah, fine, just let them get very yummy. They didn't love one another, and they was fine with it too. Yeah, this is another one. For those that don't know, there's a term called, what's it called?
Autofellatio.
Autofellatio, where some people, they basically cut their ribs out. Not every single rib, but I think it's the lower 2 or 3, so that they can bend over and they can give a blowjob to themselves. And this is in Egyptian records here, and that man was doing autofellatio, so he must have got his so he must have got his ribs surgically taken out, so that he could, fully bend over to do what he had to do, you But all right, let's get back to you go back to that one. Yeah, that's another one of 2 men there. Again, doing the same thing again. With this one, his hand behind his head, he's making sure he don't move, He going nowhere, he's getting all of his love, but almost it's getting very bad.
This one is come
on now. I'm sorry. There's no way to interpret that. Come on, like, what are you gonna say? He's saying he's my best friend that I've got your back. So I don't.
Wasn't this type of thing going on in the Egyptian and the Roman Empire?
It was, yeah, and I was gonna get to that, but basically it was the Egyptians that basically passed on to the Greeks, and then to the ancient Romans too. So what a lot of people do is they talk about the Greeks and say, oh, they was gay, but no one ever asked where they got that from, and they got it from the Egyptians. Remember this, every Greek god, where did they come from? Zeus, Hades, where did they come from? They come from who? Do you know, Prophet?
Oh, yeah, the Romans stole the Egyptian gods and renamed them after their names.
That's right. So basically, ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans too, they got their religion, if you want to call it, of the ancient Egyptians, and they got their culture from them too. Just obviously they call it by another name. So like some of the Egyptian gods, they just got a Greek name or they got an ancient Roman name, but it was all the exact same thing. So really, it's just something that got passed on, basically. So even the Greeks, homosexuality was big amongst them too, and they got it from the Egyptians, the ancient Roman Empire. They was gay too. They got it from the ancient Egyptians too. You know what I mean? So it was something that just got basically passed on down really. Do you understand? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, where we at now?
That's pretty much all on that.
All right, I think it's going down. There's another story giving. Yeah, this one, yeah, King Pepe II and his general officer assassinate.
A well-known story dating back to the Middle Kingdom tells about an anonymous citizen who comes to the audience hall of King Pepe II. Here named by his birth name, Neferkari. The citizen wants to lament about an unnamed circumstance, but the king does not want to listen to the laments.
All right. So basically, what it's saying is, one man, you know what I mean, he wanted to talk to the king, and it's sad to lament is when someone's really, you know what I mean, like they basically something is bothering him, and they want to talk about it, and he wants to talk to the king about it, but the king's like, no, he doesn't want to know. Reader.
So he orders his royal musicians to drown out the slacker. He orders his royal musicians to drown the stranger's speech with noise. Disappointed, the stranger leaves the place. When this happens several times, he orders his friend, the high official, Tajeti, to follow the king. The king, in turn, frequently leaving the palace during the night, Tetji finds out that King Pepe keeps visiting his royal general officer Sassanet for several hours, then returning home.
So what do you think is going on here? So now, because the man was at that, the king he wouldn't listen to like his lament. He basically told someone to, you know, just like see what the king does, and then come to find out he's visiting general officer Sassanet for like a few hours. Then he turned me home. So he pays man to, you know, just watch the king, and then come to find out he's having this gay relationship with like this man. But as you read on down, it's going to explain. Read out.
Oh, okay. The chapter in which King Pepe II visits his loyal general officer is subject of passionate discussions, especially one certain phrase stays in the center of investigations. The text says that His Majesty went into Sassanet's house and did to him what His Majesty desired.
No, I mean, we don't need to read them any more of that. I don't believe that. That's common sense. So what do you think he wanted? Something, you know what I mean, which the Bible calls an abomination.
That's right.
Read on, just read that bit.
The phrase "doing what one desires" is commonly, is a common flowery phrase to describe sex.
Yeah. So now with this man, he's having sex with a man called Officer Sassanet. And you know what I mean? That, so now we got into that, you know what I mean? So now that also shows that this is fact, and it's not just what the Bible says. Even in Egyptian records, these things was going on. And it also shows that the Bible can't be an Egyptian book, because in one, they're fine with these things, and then yet the Bible saying no. You know what I mean? That you can't, you have some.
Yeah, there's one online.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's just about why can't we eat prawns? I think you're probably going to get there, are you not?
You have some graphic.
Oh, it's information that the Greeks got their information from the Egyptians.
Yeah, agree with that.
The Greeks stole and copied the Egyptian pantheon as their own, just changing names, but modeled after Egyptian gods. The Greeks stole philosophy, mathematics, and science from Egypt. Then it says, since Anubis is the god of the dead, his Greek equivalent would be Hades.
Hades. Yeah, so basically, they basically just like took everything, their religion, beliefs and all that. But of course, they gave it a Greek name, basically. So, you know what I mean? That's where they got everything from. Anyone that was that.
More gods, he goes, Horus, he's more similar to Mars, the Roman god of war and discipline, and both are referred to as the Avenger. Some historians of philosophies link Isis to the Greek consort of Zeus. It's not Isis, it's Zeus.
Isis is Zeus. So yeah, so basically religion is the exact, so basically they just copied their religion, but of course into their language, just gave it a Greek title basically. It has
Yeah, there's a question online. The sister wants to know why she's not allowed to eat shrimp and crab because she was told it was wrong. I believe it's a sister. I'm imagining actually.
Alright, most of it. Well, the reason why they can't is because God commands. So let's get Leviticus chapter 11. You know what I mean? In the Bible, we have a dietary law, which means the things that you can eat and the things that you can't. Now, of course, there is a scientific reason too, but God commanded us not to, and we're going to read that part first when you get that.
Leviticus 11:1, and the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all beasts that are on the earth.
Yes, now we got a law saying these are the beasts which you can eat. So now there's some things which you can eat and there's some things which you can't. So you know what I mean, like, so now we can't read every single one, but you know what I mean, it does go into the things that you can eat, you can't. You can eat lamb, ox, you know what I mean, and things like that. You want to get to the meat of it?
Okay, verse 9, these shall ye eat of all are in the waters.
In the water. So now in the water. So now what did you say? Prawns. It's in the water. But now we're gonna see if God commands that we can have it redone.
Whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
All right. So now anything that has what fins and scales of them in the waters, that can you eat? So you can eat a tilapia, snapper, fins and scales, some other fish, hake. You know what I mean? So anything that matches that you can eat. Now prawns, that doesn't have fins, that doesn't have a scale there as well. So by definition, that you can't eat. You know what I mean? It's a commandment, and you got some.
Yes, okay, just on the back of that, like things like prawns, if you was in the sea and you see a prawn, it would be eating turd, and eels. Eels don't have the fins and the scales, for example, yeah? They're smooth. They eat rotten corpses. You're not going to go in the sea and catch that thing while it's in the middle of eating shit or a corpse and catch it and go home and cook it, seeing what it's in the middle of doing. You're not going to want to eat that.
And then we can add to a lot for like those that like them kind of things. It also lets you have worms. Like there's like a lot of people, they have to go to the hospital, and the doctor, he has to be taking out bags of worms out of them, like loads of tapeworms and what's that term? Trichinosis. Yeah, like some worms like 6 feet long and lots of them, like, you know, like you go to Big Walk and like you got like a bowl and it's got like lots of what do you call it? Yeah, basically it's like that, but with like worms in like your body. That's just that worms, and that happens over like years. Because remember this, anything that you have, those same tapeworms, they are also getting fed from those exact same worms. So they're inside you for like years, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, till one day you get really sick, and then the doctor's like, yeah, I think he's got worms in him. Then you gotta go to the hospital, the doctors open you up, taking out tons of worms, like loads of them, like that, 2, 3, 4, And then some of them have to even go easier in this testing to get at the other worms, squeezing it, getting at more. And that happens when you eat things like that, because the reason why is because them things eat waste, and then when you eat that, all that waste, all that germs is going in you, and then it does cause worms and things like that. I believe there's a video where they do an operation on someone, and if you see, it will never make you want to eat prawns or what's some of the other ones? Prawns, seafood, lobster, shark, even pig soup. You get that same effect if anyone eats bacon soup. So now, when the Bible says you can't eat these things, we just had it in a commandment, but there is a reason why, because you will get things like that from like eating prawns, from eating bacon and things like that. So 1 second, brother. We'll get to this. So now this is what prawns does right here. It causes tapeworms, and that's the one in the testings right there, and they gotta get it out of them because it's basically eating all the things that they have before you even get to like them. So now those worms, they're benefiting off your rice and cocktail before you're having the rice, and really that's getting fed, and you're not. I mean, that's one, but I've seen some worse ones where, it's scary.
I don't want to watch that no more. That's
But yeah, I mean, that's just one example. I mean, there's worse ones where the worms are in abundance. You'll be just taking out tons of worms out of someone.
It's like you want to find the next one?
Yeah, I mean, with that one, it was good, but it wasn't enough. There's some bad ones where people have been eating bacon for like years, eating prawns for like years, and that's what you get. That's what. Now, guess what? That's what not following the laws of God does. That's you not following the Leviticus, what is it, chapter 11.
God.
That's what not that's not what following the Leviticus chapter 11 does right there. Look at that. You go to Big Wapping, it's full of that, but that's not. But all that there's worms. So I hope that answers it here. You can't eat prawns. Why? Because it's a commandment, and then there is a reason why. But of course, the Most High, He just let us have it in a commandment, meaning don't eat this. Anything that doesn't have fins or scales in the sea, that shall ye not eat. You can read that one more time. Yes.
These shall ye not eat of all that in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be abomination unto you.
Yeah, so for example, prawns shall be an abomination. You mean all those other things, crabs, lobster, that right there shall be an abomination. Why? Because it doesn't have fins and it doesn't have these scales as well. So if it doesn't have that, you can't eat it. And there is a reason why, as I said before, we have it in a commandment, but there is a reason why, and that is the exact reason why you end up getting worms and all kinds of things like that. And you have something.
Yeah. Also, I mean, even if you don't get worms, like foods like black people get certain diseases, white people don't. Sickle cell, and white people are more prone to Down syndrome and different diseases affect different people. Yeah, and prawns and pork are very high in sodium, which affects your blood pressure. And black people are more naturally prone to high blood pressure anyway. So that's the last thing that niggas need to be eating is a lot of salty foods and high sodium foods like that. So it's specifically, that's for us the pork thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the prawns.
Also, you had a question, bro.
Oh yeah. Okay, I may be interpreting the scripture wrong, but I'm sure in Romans or Acts, why did Paul have that vision on different types of food, you know, and was saying that you can have different types of food? I know you've just explained that that is the result of it, which is a command God says we shouldn't eat, you know, that is the result of it. So why did Paul say that you can eat in the vision?
Well,
is that what it was?
No, it's not. It was explaining something else. Like, I do know where you're on about, and Christians love that verse. But if you read on, it explains itself. You got it coming from nothing. To start.
Acts 10:1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of a band called the Italian band.
All right. So now there was a man. He was of the Italian band. So now he's gonna meet this man. Now, when it says to arise, eat, and it was all manner of like a beast, you know what I mean? All of this really was because he's gonna meet this exact man, this man that we are going to read about. But we'll read it and we'll break it down. Read out.
A devout man, one that feared God with all his house, which gave him alms to the people and prayed to God always.
All right. So now it's talking about this man. So now this is the context of this. And you want to skip to the part where you're talking about all of the beasts and arise and eat, unclean and all that.
Verse 3. He saw in a vision.
In a what?
In a vision.
In a vision. So now he's not literally eating these beasts. It's like he's awake, but he's looking at something which is not there. You understand? All right, read on.
Evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of God coming to him, saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers, thy alms are come up for a memorial before God. And now send men to Joppa to call for Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodged with one Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do.
All right, so now he's saying that you gotta go meet this man, and then he's gonna tell you what to do. Read on.
Verse 9, Acts 10:9. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh to the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour, and he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance.
All right, so now he fell into a trance. So now it's like you're awake, but you kind of like your mind's all over the place, and you know what I mean. Like if that explains what a trance exactly is, because
Trance, like a daydream.
Yeah, basically, that's what it would be called. Yeah.
And he saw heaven open, and a vessel descended upon him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the 4 corners and let down to the earth.
All right, so now he saw something coming down. So now in this trance that he's having, it's explaining what like he saw. So he saw like a net coming down. We done.
Wherein were all manner of 4-footed beasts of the earth.
So now it says where there was all 4-footed beasts. So you know what I mean? So like an ox, pig, lion, tiger. You saw like all of these kind of beasts. We done.
And creeping things.
And creeping things, so like a tarantula, ants. You know what I mean? And things like that too. We done.
And fowls of the air.
And fowls, birds, ravens, eagles. We done.
And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat.
So now he saw all these things, and the voice saying, Rise, kill and then eat. We done.
But Peter said, Not so, Lord.
So hang on. So now he said, Not so. He's like, no. And now he's going to explain why he said no. We done.
For I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean.
So now he's never eaten anything that is common or what?
Unclean.
Unclean. So now a question to you: why did he say that? That's right. So now if he heard this voice and it says rise, eat, he's like, damn, fine, you know what I mean? And he got his knife and fork. No, he didn't, because he follows the Lord. He's saying no, I can't have these things. Why? Because he's following the commandments. What we done?
And the voice spake unto him again a second time, what God has cleansed, thou call not thou common.
So now, what people do, they like that part there. So what God called what, sorry?
What God has cleansed, that call not thou common.
So now they say, well, God, He has cleansed my bacon. He's, cleanse that, so I can eat it, you know what I mean? But little do they know, it's not on about this at all. Like if you read on down, it's going to explain itself. Read on.
This was done thrice.
So now it was done thrice, which only means 3 times. Read on.
And the vessel was received again into heaven. Now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean.
So hang on, so now he knows this means something. It doesn't literally mean that he's gonna eat it. It doesn't literally mean that, you know what I mean? The common and the unclean means to eat the ox, the raven, the birds. I mean, even he knew that this meant something. And he has something.
Yeah, that's deep, because Peter knew it wasn't about eating pork. So he doubted himself. So Peter's like, I don't know what this is about. You know what I mean? So how can a Christian read and go, yeah, you can eat pork? When Peter himself,
he's saying, nah, like it don't mean this. And then, you know what I mean? He's doubting himself. And then also, he knew that it meant something. So he knew that behind what he saw, there was a deeper meaning behind it. Read that.
Behold, the men which thou sent to Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house, and stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, lodged there.
All right. So now the man that we read up in verse 1, he's now looking for a eater. He's looking for him. Why? Because he was told to go and look for he was told to go and look for that man. Skip to the meat bit where he goes, what I want kind.
Verse 26. But Peter took him up, saying, stand up, I myself am a man. And as he talked with them, he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto another nation.
All right, so now that's what it meant when it said this. When the angel said arise and like eat, and he's like, no, I've never ever, you know what I mean, ate no unclean thing. Verse 28 saying that ye know that it is a unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew. Read on.
For a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto another nation, but God have showed me.
And what?
God have showed me.
So now he showed me when
he showed.
Yeah. When did God show him this?
In a vision.
In a vision. So when it said arise and eat, and he's like, no, I've never eaten no unclean thing. He knew that. He finally was he finally realized that this is what it was about. Read on.
But God have showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Any man common or unclean.
So really, it was all about a man. He was gonna meet this man, and he's showing him, look, arise and eat. He's saying, I've never eaten nothing unclean, and it was a vision showing that you're gonna meet this man who don't follow the commandments. He's, you know what I mean, he's off, and that's what he's saying. I should not call no man common or unclean. Why? Because with the Israelites, they didn't mess with those that did not follow the commandments. They did not mess with those that served them other gods. So for that, they called them what? Unclean. If that answers for it.
Perfect.
Good enough for me. Alright then.
I got something for that as well.
Yeah,
like,
cool.
Like, I had the Christians here, they would say that it mean don't refuse no, like what God cleanse and all that. Yeah, but if you cook a dog, they're not gonna eat that. You know what I'm saying? It's just an excuse to eat pork, innit? And even in Revelation, I got where it says the unclean fowls. You want that?
Yeah, bring that stuff.
The book of Revelation, 18 verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great has fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Hateful bird. So now that shows that the dietary law is in effect, because why is it saying that there's unlawful birds, unclean birds?
Okay.
So it shows that even in the last book, they are still saying that some things you can eat and some things that you can't. So you know what I mean? So whenever someone likes to go to Acts about, you know what I mean, arise and eat, God has cleansed it. It's not even on about that. And then if you read them down, he's even doubting like, nah, I'm not gonna have that. Why? Because he followed the law. He has something else.
If you choose point 5,
Oh yeah.
Isaiah 66,
Yeah, bring it.
Isaiah 66 and 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind.
Okay, so now this is talking about the return of Yahushua, or people called Christ. So now this is talking about his return. Read on.
To render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
With flames of fire. So now when he returns, he's not coming back nice and happy. He's coming back angry, and he's gonna burn those that ain't following his commandments up. Read on.
For by sword, for by fire, and by sword will the Lord plead with all flesh.
Yeah, so he's gonna let everyone know, look, you're either gonna follow these commandments or die with the fire or by the sword. So you know what I mean, they're gonna follow the commandments whether they want to or they don't. Or if they don't, then they just die. Read on.
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
What?
The slain of the Lord shall be many.
So when Christ returns, he's gonna kill lots of people. Read on.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh.
What?
Eating swine's flesh.
So now they're eating swine's flesh. Now even when he returns, there's gonna be some that are gonna be eating bacon basically, and we're gonna find out what he's gonna do with them. Read on.
And the abomination and the mouse shall all be consumed together, saith the Lord.
And that means they're going to be burnt up too.
That's deep, because this talking about the coming of Christ, which ain't happened yet. So how can it be okay to eat swine now? Christ cleansed it, but when he comes back, kill man that's eating pork when he cleansed it. How you gonna cleanse pork because it's fine to eat it, but when he comes back, you're gonna kill people eating that same pork?
See, I mean that's a contradiction right there. So it shows that you can't eat it back then, you can't eat it now, and then when he returns, you can't have it too.
I just wanted God's final say on the matter, you know, because everyone got their own personal relationship with our God, you know, and I just wanted his final say on me. For me personally, and I personally got a definitive answer. So thank you guys, you know, you've shown me scripture. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Bible says, if any man speak, let it be out of the oracles of God. So, you know what I mean, if we would have handed you another answer and it wasn't inside here, then it would have been wrong. But it's in the Bible, it's there. It's not hard to read, and I mean that's the answer right there. And it has a problem.
Oh, no, like that just proves what we say about grace being more of a small time period. That backs that up too. Like Christians think grace means they can go and be a faggot, adulterers and all that as much as they want, but that proved that even so much as bacon, you'll get put to death when Christ comes back. Grace is just a small period, right? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that backed that up too.
Yeah. So right now we're in a time to basically get right, and then once he returns, if you ain't right, then you're gonna be gone basically. You know what I mean? So in this time right now, we gotta be following the laws, statutes, and commandments. It's that time right now.
Salakia, so we've got a question from Sister Yanakwash. Salakia, how do we keep the Sabbath day holy, and what can and can't we do according to the law?
Okay, we'll read that. Let's get the 10 commandments for the Sabbath days. Now, to keep that day holy, you just don't work. You know what I mean? And when the Bible says work, it's not talking about you lifting your hands up or emptying the bins. Work is your job. It's not talking about work as in, you know what I mean, you switch on like a light. Like, who's it? The white Jewish people, they don't even turn on like a light. They believe to even raise their hand and to flick the switch is work, and they won't do it. When like it rains, they have an arm beretta on like their hat because they believe it rains and they're holding up their hand. It's work, and that's not what the Bible is on about. Work is your job. So it says 6 days shall work be done. So, for example, 6 days. If you're a carpenter, you can do your carpentry 6 days a week, but that day shall no work be done. Meaning you don't work basically. So you can do whatever you like, obviously if it's in the commandments, but you just don't work. And when you read that,
Exodus 20:8, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Holy, you read that?
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy works.
So now that's key. 6 days shall thou do all of thy work. So you got 6 days, you're a carpenter, you got 6 days to do all of that work. If you're a bricklayer, you work at McDonald's, you can do that in 6 days. Whatever you do to, make ends meet, you can do that in your 6 days. Read on.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
Yeah, and guess what now? That word, it means rest. So now this is the rest of God. So now what are you resting from? Now remember this now. If you take out the bins, that's not work. You know what I mean? But now if you're a carpenter, you need some rest, and that day is a holy day. That day is a rest right there. But read on them, I'll explain it some more.
In it thou shalt not do any work,
and in it thou shalt not do any work. So on that day you don't work. You don't be a carpenter on that day. You don't be a plasterer on that day. Read on.
Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant.
And now that's key, goes thy manservant. Now, of course, he's working for like you. So he's saying that is also his day of rest. So if you're rich, you got people looking after your cows and that. It's also their day of rest. Yeah, read on.
Nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth and the sea and all them that are in it, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
All right, so now that's a holy day of the Most High. He hallowed that day, and then obviously he gave us a commandment that this is a day where you don't do any work. You know what I mean? You can do it 6 days a week, but on that day, no work. So your job basically, that's what it refers to with work. I believe there's another one which explains it better. I think it's Deuteronomy 5, about 16 or something, where it says the same thing, but it words it in another way. You have something?
I got man is the Sabbath is meant to serve man.
Yeah, we'll get that one next. We'll get that one first.
So I can Deuteronomy 5 and 12. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as you.
Sit there, so that's what it's all about. It's a day that they may rest. So it's a rest day where you don't work. That's all that it is. It's not a day of you can't take out a bin. You got some people that sit in a dark room, don't switch on a light, don't even watch like the boxing match from the Friday night and all that. Missing out on live boxing just because they believe I can't watch anything. When you can, what it's saying is don't work. It's a day of rest. It's a day where you take the wife out, the kids, or do whatever you want to do, and you have some work.
Is that where weekend come from?
That is a part of it. The reason why we have a weekend is because we had a rest day, and then with the pagans, they had a rest day, which is Monday. So now, because we have like a war, they go, do you know what then? Let's make it a weekend. So now, that's why you get Saturday and the Sun day off too. When really, in the ancient times, it was only one day. But now, that's where the weekend comes from. We had our day of rest, and like for like someone who used to worship like these they used to have the Sun day off, and then obviously we had wars and all that, and then they go, do you know what? Let's make it a weekend where now you basically get the so-called weekend off now. Yes.
So Sabbath day, so you don't overwork people, workers and that. Alright, so you see how in this society, by law, just a certain amount of days off someone needs by law.
That's right. Yeah.
So the Sabbath day is that.
For us, yeah, for us. So, for instance, in the white man's world, you can go if you want to work extra time, you can. But though by law, you can only work 5 days a week. And I mean, some jobs may have the weekend off. Some jobs you may have like the Friday off, and like one other day. But though by law, you can only work 5 days a week. And now for us, that was the exact same thing. 6 days shall work be done. But on this day, it's a day of rest. It's just the exact same thing.
So that's to stop people oppressing their workers, basically.
That's right, because you got someone who's rich. They will probably want you to work every day. You know what I mean? So with God, He commanded a commandment there so that you give your workforce rest, and then also you rest as well. I believe that's in Isaiah 58 about oppress the workers and all that. Yeah, that's another one. Your one.
Come the book of Mark, chapter 2 and verse 27. This is Christ speaking. And then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man.
The Sabbath was made for man. Would anyone like to have a go at that? What does that mean? The Sabbath was made for man. Don't think hard. Just think basic. It's made for you. Just say, for example, I give you a car and I go, this car's for like you. What do I mean by that?
You're made to rest in that day. You got to rest in that day.
That's good. That's close.
Enjoy it.
Like,
Enjoy it.
yeah, that's it. Give my hand. It means enjoy it. If it's made for like man, mean it's your day. Enjoy it. You know what I mean? Take the family out, go Drayton Manor. What's the other ones? The Alton Towers or wherever you want to go. That day is made for you. You know what I mean? And read the next bit.
Come on. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath.
So now, what does that part mean?
Basically, like the Sabbath is for you to enjoy it, not for you to stay the Sabbath. Like not for you to stay at home and with the lights off thinking of breaking the laws. Basically, you can
rest. Right. Yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? You know some people I said before, don't watch TV. Like, how can you do that? I mean, like, I don't watch TV every day. Like, there's not a day that goes past. You got people with TV outlets that I don't know.
Yeah, also like I hear of fake Israelite groups that are confused. They take like half Judaism and that they're teaching. Say that like you prepare your food the night before and get everything ready on timers and all that type of stuff. Like that's you preparing, doing so much to serve. You're serving the Sabbath.
That's right.
That's you serving the Sabbath. You're doing all this work for a day that you're meant to relax and chill on. Like it's lack of understanding.
That is, and then also, if you live like that, then what's work? So now, you know what I mean, with someone else, they may look at work in one way. I may look at work in like another way, and then that's where philosophy comes in. While as in the Bible, work is a job. On that day, it don't work. So it's nothing that we have to debate about when it's just right there. You know what I mean? Because for one other man, he may make eggs and beans, just an example. Now, to me, that might be working. Nah, what do you do, man? You're making eggs and beans on the Sabbath. You're working, man. And then he's like, nah, come on, look, man. Eggs, beans, oil, what? Eggs, scrambled eggs, beans. And to him, that's not work. So now, that is when it becomes a philosophy. While as in the Bible, work is your job. Don't go to work. Easy. We don't have to debate about it.
So I can just wants to know, what is buying and selling.
Buying and selling. That's referring to jobs. Obviously now we just buy whatever we want, but back then, you know what I mean, you would sell wine, you will get corn. So it's talking about buying and selling, referring to your jobs. Some people they doubt in that kind of work where, you know what I mean, I will give you like weeds, trade and all that. So that's what it's on about. Got that for me. You want to read it all?
Jeremiah, was it trade?
Yeah, buying and selling about the gates. There's one in Jeremiah 2. We're saying that don't bring it in as well.
Lay hands.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them, to be fair. Yeah, let's get Nehemiah and one in Jeremiah 2 about there was buying and selling, and then it even explains what it is about. It was doing the corn and all that stuff.
Nehemiah, let's check that.
Yeah, about 13, Nehemiah 13.
Yeah, 13:21.
Nehemiah 13 and 21. Yeah, got it.
21, yeah?
Yeah.
No, that's like
That's not it.
that's talking about the interracial relationship.
Nehemiah 13.
It is actually not my apologies.
13:21. 13:20. So merchants and sellers.
So you start at verse 19.
Nehemiah 13 and 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem.
You start at verse 16.
Nehemiah 13 and 16. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of wares.
So now that's key. Now have that in mind. Fish and all things of ware. So now when people go, you know what I mean, you can't buy it and like all of that. You gotta understand at that time what was actually going on. So now with these men, they came with fish and ware. So fish could be, you know what I mean, rocks, diamonds, wheat, and all that.
Yeah, people read this and think that they'll selling like small stuff, like fish and chips. If you're gonna come from your country, you'll come with a bulk items. Like it's, you know, when they come from you know, when you go McDonald's into the delivery shop, it comes from like Leicester and so forth.
You don't come with ware, it comes with all manner of ware, you know what I mean? A lot of stuff. Yeah, when we got.
Oh, God. And all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem.
So now with these men, they came and they owed unto us. So now when people read the Bible go, thou shalt not buy and thou shalt not buy and sell. They don't understand exactly what it means. These men came with tons of stuff, you know what I mean, fish and like ware and all that. So it's talking about work, you know what I mean. They came to basically buy, I mean, it's the other way around. They came to sell it, and we came to buy them things. So even that there is more on about work. It's not just about you individually going to a corner shop and buying a Twix or like something like that. It's talking about again like more work-based things.
Commerce.
It has a
commerce, like
if you want to call it that, yeah, that's commerce, yeah, trading, whatever.
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day?
Yeah, so now to profane the Sabbath day, you have to break the commandments. So now, how would they have been profaning this day? Now remember now, you got to always take it back to the commandment. So what is the commandment, and then what would they have been doing to profane this day? Working. So now with the buying that they was doing, it was their job, you know what I mean? They was going to buy these things and they was going to pass them on because that was their job. It's not talking about you going to a shop and just like buying whatever like you want. All this here was relating to work, and it has.
So it's like if you're a shopkeeper and someone comes like a truckload of stuff and you buy it to stock up your shop.
That's right.
That can know where far.
That's right. We don't.
Did not our fathers thus? Did not our fathers thus? And did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon the city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? He's just letting them understand God brought wrath upon us at one time because we profaned this day. And then we can read about that in one time, but it's in Isaiah and also in like the other books too, where they profaned this day because they was doing work. Read that.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to darken before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut and charged that they should not be opened until after the Sabbath.
So now they wanted to work that bad that he had to command the gates to be locked up because they wanted to walk out of the gates and you know what I mean work. They wanted to like buy and they wanted to hand it on and all that. So he commanded that. Do you know what? I think the best thing to do is lock these gates so that these people don't break the commandments. You know?
And some of my servants set I at the gate, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath. So the merchants and sellers of all kinds of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice.
Now, when it says without, the word without just means outside. So now once the gates was locked, they just lodged them outside they just lodged outside of the gates. Why? Because they still wanted to like let us have their fish and their ware and all that, but we have a commandment not to work on this day. Read on.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall?
So now he saw them about the wall and he's getting vexed like, what are you doing around this wall? Read on.
If you do so again, I will lay hands on you.
Now, of course, this is writing it in a nice way. I will lay hands on you. Now, of course, now black people don't talk like that. I've never met a black man said, I will lay hands on you. He's saying some grungy stuff to you know what I mean? And that's what he's saying, man, you're gonna get us a word, you know what I mean? And like, that's what he would have said, something around that. So I mean, us now, they're just hanging around the wall, and he's seeing them, and he's vexed like, what are you doing? Why? Because if we buy around them, that's gonna make us break the commandments. So that's why he locked the gate. They were hanging around the gate, and him being a man that wants to follow the commandments, he's like, look, man, move from the gate, or you know what I mean? I'm gonna have to, you know, get up, up in here basically. So, is there anyone that?
From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
So then, what like he said, they heard that because they didn't come around again, so they heard that, understood it, and they never came around again. So does that answer it? All right. All right, then what's time? All right, that's it. I've got under 10 minutes. Well, yeah. Read about pyramids, incest. We're going past all that. All right, yeah. Let's get the book of Proverbs, the 14th chapter and the 15th verse.
Proverbs 14 and 15. The simple believeth every word.
And now that's key because people that believe in Pan-Africanism, they believe every word. They don't even research it. Like, from what I've realized, all these Africans and all that stuff, they talk about, yeah, it's great, we did this and that. But yet, when you go, okay, then what book should I read? They can't even tell you what like a book that you should get. Or to go is, well, if you go online and you look up, we are the ancient Egyptians. Why do I have to go on like YouTube? Why, like, you can't tell me what like in book I should get? But yeah, what you should do, brother, you should go online, look up that tab, such and such and such. So then that means then he doesn't even know what he's saying is even fact. He just believes every word. But yeah, he's never even read it himself. Read that.
But the prudent man looketh well to his going.
But though a prudent man, or what that means is a wise man. So a wise man, he looks well. A wise man goes, no. I'm not gonna just watch it. I want to read it. I want to actually research it for myself.
That's right.
Yet with them, well, I watched the video. He said that. then that's what it is. That's not good enough. You know what I mean? I can't just believe what someone said because he made a 1 hour video. You know what I mean? That's not enough. But let's skip through some of these. Let's get the book of Deuteronomy 22 and the 5th verse. I had a lesson in this book, though.
Deuteronomy 22 and 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
Right, so now we have a law which says the woman should not wear that which pertains to a man. Now, you know, fake Israelite groups say that it's a woman wearing pants, and that's not what it's on about. There are obviously jeans made for like a woman. It's a bit the shape and all that. Now, obviously, a man ain't gonna wear them kind of jeans. Why? Because common sense, you know, those ones ain't made for like a man, so it's not on about that. So now, a question: if God's saying a woman shall not wear what pertains to a man, with the Egyptians, what was they doing?
Wearing what belongs to a man, cross-dressing.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. If you look at some of those Egyptian hieroglyphs, men have makeup on with that so-called that's mascara. That's not common. You got a man with mascara around his eyes. Like that's not right. No, that's not good.
Did Solomon say that there's nothing new under the sun, number one, and then number two, isn't these things cross-dressing going on today anyway, and going in abundance by gay pride and also
yeah, definitely. So I mean, it was going on back then, and we see now. You know what I mean? Men wearing makeup and all that, and they was doing it back then. They was wearing their wives' things, the wives, you know what I mean, dresses and all that stuff. And that's why God gave us these commandments that we should not do these things. Why? Because we dwell amongst them. And obviously, you know what I mean, God did not like that. So that's why we got commandments saying, no, you ain't to do this, you ain't to do that, cross-dressing, homosexuality, all that stuff. Why? Because that's what they did. Egyptians cross-dress, and you know what I mean, God forbid us to be doing things like that in the morning.
Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
So a man, he can put on a what?
A woman's garment.
A woman's garment. So no man wearing like a thong, bra, mini skirts and pencil dress and stuff like that. You guys.
So how come like in society you see like big mama's house and them pantomimes and man put on dresses and so forth and push it deep?
Yeah, it's wrong. I mean, some people look at that as like it's a joke, and it's not a joke. God hates that stuff. You know what I mean? You got some men that wear like their wives' mini dress and they think it's a joke, and the wife's laughing. That's not funny. You know what I mean? You're a man, putting your big hairy legs into the skirt, big hairy feet, some with high heels like that just can't work, man. You know what I mean? Trying to read that one more time.
For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
And that's key. All that do so are an abomination. I mean, you are disgusting. Any man that's wearing his wife's garments, that's an abomination. God don't like that. You know what I mean? What's time? Right, let's get Isaiah, the 31st and 1. Isaiah 31:1. Which wraps up. Let's get it.
Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong.
All right. So now with God, He let us know that woe. You know what I mean? And guess what? Like they done the same thing back then, and they're doing it now with the ancient Egyptians. People used to look up to them like, wow, look at them. They got horses. You know what I mean? Look at them. They're wonderful. And the same way as we done it back then, we are doing that right now. And then the God of the Bible saying, whoa, meaning no, I mean that just can't work. You know?
They look not unto the Holy One of Israel.
And they don't look for the Most High. they're too big to talk about, well, with this Pharaoh, he was a warrior. Look at his chariot. Look how wonderful he looks. But yet, they're not looking towards God. You know what I mean? It was God that drowned them in the Red Sea. So why are you looking up to them when the God that you have, he wiped them out? It doesn't make any sense. Read on.
Neither seek the Lord, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the house of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men and are not God.
And he said that even God, you know what I mean? Even God back then has said they are just men. Egyptians are men. Egyptians ain't God. That, you know what I mean? They used to look up to them like, wow, we're like this king. He's God right here, and he's not. And God had to say it to us back then, and even till this day, God has to say the exact same thing. Egyptians are just men. They, I mean, they lived a regular life like every single one of us, and you have some real.
Yeah. Putting their trust in chariots, many number, and that's back then. Today, could that be relating to if I was to put my trust in financial wealth, like cars and things like that? Or
Nah, it's not about that. Like, based like in today, that was someone that looks at the hieroglyphs, like, look at the chariots, look at that's wonderful. You know what I mean? And basically, like, they done it kindly back then. Like, look at the Egyptians, and today we do that. We're like, when you look at the hieroglyphs, you see like that Pharaoh. Look at the chariots, look at the army. He's powerful. So I mean, we done it back then, and even today we're doing the exact same thing.
But you see, also you see those chariots. Could that relate to people that look at England and the nice army and numbers and things like that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So you know what I mean? So the whole reason of it is that basically you look at Mike like they're strong. I want to be with them, but yet those same ones that you're looking towards God, you're too busy looking at the minds of like someone else, but yet you're not looking towards God basically. Right. Read that.
And the horse is flesh and not spirit.
And the horse is flesh, meaning that horse can die too. You got people look at them horses, he looks powerful man on that big horse, but yet he can die and that horse too. Read on.
When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helps shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall fail together.
They shall. So basically now, you that's trying to be on their side, and guess what? Like, you that's trying to be on their side, and then them, they're all gonna, or you know what I mean? It's basically God that commands who's gonna win, and basically who is not. And you know what I mean? Just because you looked up to them, it don't mean anything. You know what I mean? God wiped them out before, and he done it again.
That's right.
Look now, where if you go to the Sudan, that's where a lot of them are, and they're living in what's it called, dirt huts and all that. But yeah, they're so great, the math and like in that. But you're telling me they can't do those exact same things in the Sudan. So it shows that it's really the Most High who says who's gonna rule and like who is not, because at one time they was major, powerful, and now look at them. They ain't saying not even one word. You know what I mean? So what's the time now? 9 o'clock. All right. That's the class. With that, we're gonna get to the announcements and the careers as well.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We're the I.S.U.P.K started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the command of GEN.YAHANNA. Rule for new brothers and sisters: when a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6-month period in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. The book of Numbers 18 and 21. The book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through to 10. Ma'ashara means a tenth in the Hebrew. That's 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or to a teacher. Priest fund is not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, tabernacles.
Not for now, but
Tabernacle coming up there. All academic, I'll check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. That's so like check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. That's shirt, pants, headband, and scarf.